In this video, I'm going to talk about something that many of you wanted expanded a little further, especially when we talked about it a bit in the podcast and the video I did before. And that's just how devastating the upcoming and pending actors' Hollywood strike could be on everything going forward, and why, even if they strike a new deal, we're still not in the clear, and the entertainment industry will really suffer. And it's going to suffer a lot. Movies and TV have been a huge part of escapism, and the biggest part contributing to this for the better part of the last 30 plus years. Video games, of course, are a part of this, but let's be real, not everybody plays video games, but a lot of people can escape the world around them by watching TV and film. We've seen people's mental status and what can happen when content dries up. We recently saw that with a pandemic. So what exactly is going to happen? Well, let's say they reach new contracts, which they inevitably will at some point. They're either going to go one or two ways. One, the actors bend over backwards and it's a small temporary contract, just like the directors recently had, which is only like 2 to 3 years. Or it's a long-term contract, but then Hollywood would have to really bend over backwards for the actual actors, which they don't want to show their hand by doing that, which means we're probably stuck on a shorter-term deal. Which means 2 years after it's signed, we're back right where we started now. The same thing we're going to be back at with the writer's strike and then the actors on top of this. It's just going to be a continuing literal circle that doesn't do anything new. It's just going to feed on itself. And the problem here is that every couple of years, we're going to start running into this because the medium is changing. It's always changing, and they're not adapting these contracts properly, which means that shorter-term contracts now are going to become the norm, which means that standstills are also going to become the norm. Essentially, think of this like the United States debt ceiling. Every year, we're talking about how it's getting worse and how the US is constantly looking to borrow more money or do this or cut this off and do something here and raise prices here, but cut budgets here. It's essentially going to be the same. Except this is the entertainment industry, which, again, a lot of people use for escapism. And unfortunately, it's only going to get even harder on everybody because of the, rise of AI. Because these studios will see the advantage of it. So I think we're looking at a next decade or so of entertainment really suffering on all fronts, from greedy corporate people to the actors, to the writers, to the directors, and everybody in between, all being affected with what they want and nobody getting everything that they fully actually want.